Mr. Terrific Year 1, Issue 4, Al Letson writing with Valentine De Landro on the main art at the very least. So this is next chapter in this story. It's so funny because the opening of these issues where it's like the present day stuff with Mr. Terrific, I completely forget exactly what he's doing. I know it's to do with the dark side energy that he's investigating, but
yeah,
like what's he fighting? Like, you know, like I don't know. I have no idea. But he's talking about like not doing well in school and his dad being supportive of him and maybe suggesting to actually put him ahead some grades because he's not feeling challenged enough, and then of course he aces the test for 2 grades above him, blah 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 blah. So that stuff's fine, but really the meat of the issue is the flashback stuff. It's the year 1 part, and that stuff's really good. We ended the last issue with Cormorant fighting him and demanding to know who he is, and he quite quickly like takes his mask off and sees that it's Hull and is like, I knew it, you made me look like a chump, and he gets very upset. But then his cronies come in and start firing their weapons and cause a rupture which floods the place, and it also causes some stuff. It's not quite a meltdown that's happening with the Nexus engine, but it's like, you know, it's kind of like on the way to one, so that becomes like a crisis that Prescott and the others have to deal with throughout the rest of the issue. So that's all good fun. And Mr. Terrific like dives out into the ocean and basically feels like worthless and that he's a failure and that he was a fool for trying to do this, and it basically says that he's ready to just let himself die, and it's actually just at the last second you see that the Spectre hand come down and be like, no. And that's just all you get. It's like,
I feel for a guy that doesn't believe in higher power. The Spectre's like, nah man, I'm right here.
Yep.
You're going to do what I say. I think that's very, very amusing for Mr. Terrific. You know, so no, we're not done with you yet. So yeah. Yeah,
I think it's a good moment. The art's really nice in that page as well because it's all the, you know, it's just like the blue shades of his face against the black infinite water. So it's a really pretty haunting kind of page. And you see his friend in there. In fact, that was part of the backstory of the school, is that he met his friend. He was like one of the older kids when he moved into the class 2 grades up, and he kind of took him under his wing and like looked out for him because, you know, I would imagine, because that's not something that happens in the UK, is this idea of skipping grades. It's not a thing. You're not allowed to do that. Like the ages are there's different levels in each, you know, like there's like any year at school there'd be like 8 math classes, there'd be 2 that are doing the hardest stuff and then 2 that are sort of a little bit under the top level, a couple of mid levels, and then there's the, you know, the one where all the meat eaters who don't know what they're doing go into that class. And I say that,
you call them
meat eaters. It comes from so the reason why I make that joke is because I remember a teacher making a joke that all the misbehaved kids would always sit up the back. Like that's the kids that you throw just raw meat up the back to keep them at bay every once in a while. So that's why I called them meat eaters.
Some things never change. Some things
so, and if that sounds like I'm being insensitive, the reason why I'm saying that is because most of the people in the low classes tended to be people who were misbehaved and just refused to do work, rather than because they were struggling to learn. Obviously, people who have actual learning difficulties, that's a different case entirely.
And here it's you know, Michael Holt points out that he was just bored because everything was too easy, and that's the reason that he's able to go through. And his dad essentially makes it like a game because he notices that his dad was like this blue collar guy, rough hands from working with his hands, and they watched Jeopardy every night. And as a kid, he was getting all the questions right. So when his dad pointed out that, you know, you look at things as a game, why don't you do that in school? That's the thing that clicks with him. And I see that as a character trait where everything in the series so far, once he thinks of it like a game, as something to be solved in that way, that's how he's able to come around to it. So again, these little tiny pieces of storytelling that work their way through. I think that's it's making me appreciate Michael Holt as a character more.
Oh, for sure. And of course, Batman goes to Lex because Lex was trying to build his own Nexus engine, which blew up the waterfront. So Batman goes to Lex and is like, I know it was you prick. And Lex is like, prove it. You know nothing. So Batman just warns him to stay out of Gotham. But that kind of leads us down our other plot threads. So the 2 plot threads from that point on in the issue are, one, Prescott, who's the woman running the company that's doing the whole Nexus Engine stuff, just in case people have forgotten, because I mean, I always do until they say her name at the start of the issue. But she is like we have to fix this, get that Nexus engine back online. And the scientists are like, no, we can't. It's like 300 degrees Celsius in there, and the only, like, we can't fix this. This is, it reminded me a lot of like a meltdown, like a Chernobyl style incident where like we can't go in there, it's too dangerous, and the only thing keeping it from doing this is that, and blah blah blah. So she fires the security guy. She doesn't believe him that it was Holt, because Holt's not an action hero type dude. And she fires this guy. So this guy's now got a vendetta against her and Holt, where he's like mad. I mean, towards the end of the issue, he's got like a knife in her picture, so he might be coming after her first rather than Holt. But when she's struggling to get this fixed, she goes into the elevator, and that's when Darkseid's voice starts coming in at her again and demanding that, you know, that they need to like complete their mission, and you know, she ends up getting pinned up against the ceiling, and he's like, Darkseid is, you will do this, or blah 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 blah. So it basically, she sort of slumps to the floor at the end, and it's like, oh, like the evil demonic entity from her perspective in her head is like, you're going to fix this, and you've got so much pressure. So it doesn't make you empathize with her, but it gives you like all the motivation she has to get this working, and why she's like accepting no excuses from the scientists, and so on and so on. And it's what leads to what she does later, which is that she chooses to get a hazmat suit in and go in and like fix something, and the scientists are like saying, no, it's 300 degrees in there, it's not, like, the suits aren't built to withstand that heat. And she's like, yeah, but as soon as I flip this switch or fix this thing, it'll like cool down, right? It's like, yeah, but like, how long is that going to take? So she basically like takes it upon herself to go in and try and fix it, and it really sells how scared she is of Darkseid. It sells how scared she is of this voice that's in her head that's telling her to do these things.
She'd rather die than fail Darkseid.
Yeah.
Right? And again, it's very possession coded. Like, if you watch enough possession movies, the way that she gets dragged up to the ceiling in the elevator, and she's just kind of up there splayed out, you know, and that works, because I don't know if she understands what Darkseid is, but it's this evil entity that seems to have control over her. So I thought that was a pretty smart piece of the art and the story here. So, and yeah, her going in there and saying that, well, once I turn the orb on, the radiation will be sucked up, right? So it's the big deal. It's also her, not her pride exactly, but she's almost like foolhardy, where she's not gonna wait. She's gonna go take care of this regardless. But yeah, again, a lot of fun character work here.
Yeah, I think it's, again, it doesn't make you empathize, but I think it makes her a more interesting character, that she's this scared of Darkseid, and it makes Darkseid feel like, you know, the big spooky big bad that he should be, and all that. And then the other side of the issue, plot wise, is that Terrific's just healing his wounds, and Bruce Wayne shows up at his door because, hey, this Nexus engine thing exploded, we think someone else built it. And Mr. Terrific even says, wait, do you think I'm responsible because I'm like one of the 4 people who would know how to build it? And he's like, right now, I just want you to help fix it. But obviously, when we see Batman at the cave with Alfred, he's like, no, I'm watching this guy closely because I want to know, like, what he's made of. Is he behind this? Is he a good person? That kind of thing. He's doing his whole Batman, I need to judge everyone for myself kind of thing. But he enlists Terrific to like come and help his scientists try and figure out how to stop, because basically this explosion's put a lot of bad stuff in the air, and in like 12 hours the wind's going to change direction and blow it all into the city, so we have to figure out how to like dissipate it somehow before then. So Terrific agrees to do this, and he comes in, and he's not been in a lab in a long time. There's like a page, I love the art in this page actually, of Terrific in a hazmat suit going out into the affected area and like dealing with it. But he basically figures out a way to have like all this stuff be eaten by this like bacteria that he puts there, but then once the bacteria has no more food, it'll just die, so it'll like solve the problem. Because he explains that the Nexus engine basically pulls in stuff that's harmless radiation to humans, but turns it into energy, but the explosions made it harmful, like, you know, now it's like, you know, radiated in a different way or whatever. But yeah,
so he says the Nexus engine gathers the netherlight radiation, which is ambient radiation that isn't harmful to humans. It's barely detectable. The engine then turns that into a power source. So essentially, he's just gonna turn these little, you know, bacteria into that, you know, as a counter agent, and that's what makes it harmful, though. The small explosions.
Can I say as well that this name, the Nexus engine, maybe we brought this up before, but I can't help but think of that meme about, you know, oh, this book about scientists building the Terminus engine, destroying the world, as a big hit. You know, 20 years later, scientists have announced that they have finally built the Terminus engine, which, from the book, don't build the Terminus engine.
Yeah.
Like, every time I hear Nexus engine, that's all I could think about is that meme. But anyway, so yeah, when Prescott goes in to like try and fix the thing herself, the final page, the big cliffhanger, is basically she's getting struck with energy, but it looks notably like Darkseid, energy. It's all the circles and the lightning.
The Kirby crackle.
The Kirby crackle, if you will. So, no, great cliffhanger. Honestly, yeah, it's such a weird thing that the intros are like the part that, I mean, to be fair, the narration at the start of this one was quite good and filled in some backstory, but like what he's doing in the present day stuff is just such a non-thing. But once we get to like the year one stuff, it's just such a good book. Like, it's doing good character work. The whole thing here with Terrific feeling like he accomplished something, but not as a hero with like an outfit on. He accomplished it in a lab as a scientist, and he saved the day. It's really interesting. And obviously in the narration, he even says, obviously back then I didn't know Bruce Wayne was Batman. Otherwise, I might have had a different reaction to all this stuff. But, at the time, this billionaire was walking in and like asking me to do stuff and blah, 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 blah. So I thought that was interesting. Him like in his narration, like knowing in hindsight that this is Batman, but he at the time didn't. I think that's kind of a cool little dynamic. And then the art, which we've been praising, since issue 1, is still fantastic. This is
the heavy lines.
Yeah, this is probably my second favorite issue behind issue 1. I think I like 2 and 3, but I think this is better than 2 and 3. I think this is really paying off here now.
The way that the art plays with the mood in this issue, because it's all about his doubt, right? And he wants to give up under the water, and everything's so dark. And then when the Spectre's hand comes through, everything's letting up, or and then when he comes through, like, we get Batman in the daylight, which is so weird to see when he goes to confront Luthor.
Yeah, which kind of plays into the irony as well, is that Batman's the character that comes in and lets Terrific like find this hope, but not in the costume way, like as in the regular daylight way of being a scientist. Like, it's kind of ironic that Batman's the one that gives him that kind of avenue to go down, when Batman's usually like, no, darkness, gritty, put on a costume and be a knight of Gotham, something.
Yeah, so it's all there, and I just, again, it's really good. I've been recommending this to people that after they saw the Superman movie and they really enjoyed Mr. Terrific. I'm like, hey, there's this year 1. There's only like at that point 2 issues out.
Oh, I mean,
you might want to pick it up and read it as you go, because it's going to give you a perfect summation of Mr. Terrific.
It's the timing there's obviously very intentional, but it was a good idea to have a year 1 of Mr. Terrific coming out around the time of that movie. If anything, the only thing I would say is that they should have done it a bit earlier, so the collection could have been out, and they could have sold that to, hey, $15, whatever it would be. Here's the paperback of the whole thing. Go read this if you like Mr. Terrific. But hey, I've always liked Mr. Terrific well enough, but I feel like I'm getting to know him as a character in a way that I don't think I'd read up until now.
No, and I feel like the writer Al Letson gets what makes Mr. Terrific click, because it's not just the world's smartest man, right? It's all those doubts. It's all this him speaking from hindsight, and it comes from, he feels like a mistake that he should have handled in his past, and that's where we're getting the story from, right? So he has all this hindsight as he's recounting the story, so it doesn't just feel like a simple origin, And so. A lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this book.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, what are you giving Mr. Terrific year 1, issue 4?
I'm giving this a 9.
Yeah, honestly, hard to argue with that. Really, I think I agree. 9 out of 10. It was great. So, no, what I really like about this and Absolute Martian Manhunter is that it's both are by teams, specifically the writers, that I didn't really know before those books, right? So it's really nice to like have these surprises where I'm like, okay, now I'll pay attention when I see Dennis Camp or Al Letson on a book, because hey, this was great, this surprised me. So no, good stuff. Really elevating. Like Absolute Martian Manhunter is kind of a weird thing, because it's obviously doing this weird alternate take on something, but this is great because it's like elevating like a character who's already in the universe and will continue to be in the universe and might get a spin-off of the movie at some point and all that kind of thing. Like, I feel like Mr. Terrific's stock is going up,
Very up and up and up, yeah. And this is the thing too, that both of those artists on those books made me pay attention, right? Because we had just ended Zatanna, with Rodriguez doing the art there. And then we've been a fan of De Landro, the other books that we've read that he's done. So it's just good that both sides of the storytelling are working on these.